Test, test, 1, 2. Hey folks, how's it going? Moved on to the wrong screen. Spend a few days off streaming and I forget how to do it. Hope you've all been well. Hope it's been a good few days for you. I'm happy to be streaming again. Nearly didn't. Nearly went, you know what? I'm still feeling tired. Should I just rest? I thought, no, I actually want to do this. Got any gifts for a birthday? Ooh, found the screw I was missing earlier. Gifts for my birthday? Yes. My parents got me, let's put the big screen on. Full camera. Full camera. Set that up. Yes, my parents got me a new Fitbit health tracker. Because my old one was playing up a bit. The button wasn't working, so that's off my parents. It's quite nice. So I can actually track all my steps and whatnot. And my brother, the gift from my brother is still being delivered. It's not in the UK yet. So whenever that reaches the UK, I'll get his gift. And Nick's got me a couple of games on Steam and a grating device where you put either cheese or fruit into the top and you spin it and it kind of just grates up the thing into small strands and stuff. So rather than kind of doing the manual pushing of it, this one you just spin a wheel. So that's very cool. So I should be grating more vegetables and cheese. So I'm very happy about that because I end up just getting mess everywhere when I'm cooking, trying to grate things. So not very good with the shredding and grating of stuff. So that's going to be very useful. You grate cheese, always for you ate it whole. Where possible, I eat it whole. But when I'm trying to be good, I shall grate it because you can kind of sprinkle it then, can't you? And sprinkle, and you end up using less cheese but still have all the flavour. So that's ideally what I should be doing. But yeah, I can do it easier now. I don't have to, I can just put the block in, push the block down and just spin until it kind of goes down. So happy about that. Ooh, what's going on there? I'm doing some updates. I bought myself a mini computer thing. I'm just installing updates on it. So that's on the screen down on the floor doing its thing. And the screen's gone off. Has it gone to sleep? No, still going. I thought I told it to turn the screen off after half an hour. I suppose it's probably been half an hour since I've touched it. Anyway, let's test the bot is working. There we go. They've got a panda. Lovely little panda there. Let's move over to the other screen. So everything's happy. So I want to try and make a bit more progress with this because every time I kind of do something complicated and it doesn't feel like I've done a lot. But I think a lot of it. Oh, what are we doing? Yeah, like this. Last time I managed to get this out, the old speech box above their head. So I suppose what I could do is try and make it so that changes text and maybe it writes. Maybe it'd be a cool effect if it, like, you see all the letters moving across as if someone's typing it. So that could be a cool effect. It doesn't need to be done. You could just show on the screen and disappear. And I'd like the audio to play, so when you see the text, you hear the audio. And then I think we'll move away from this scene because we've been on this for a few weeks now. I'll come back to it, but I'll do some more of the actual gameplay because none of this is to do with the gameplay. This is all just kind of intro. So yeah, I can work on that. But yeah, no other gifts. Oh, I did have one other gift. It was an Assassin's Creed phone stand, which is really cool, like a metal plate with like the pressing of the different assassins. I have to take a photo of it. It's over there. I could grab it in a bit, but that's really cool. No other gifts though. No, that's all I've had so far. But yeah, I've had a couple of like Steam things on Steam, which is quite cool. I know karaoke. Now I need the house to be empty for karaoke, because yeah, we're disturbing every other people. If the house is empty, then I can either do cooking or cooking karaoke. But I'm not 100% opposed to karaoke. So maybe in the future, maybe there'll be karaoke in the future. The only thing with karaoke is, well, it requires copyrighted music. So that would be first request would be cock and ball torture when girls learn to piss on commando. That's quite a title, that is. My voice is not really suited to anything too alternative. So there's one or two kind of genres I can put my voice to. But metal isn't really one of them, unfortunately, as much as I love it. Porn grind songs, you just gurgle water to the mic. Okay. Good to know if I ever need to do karaoke and porn grind. Yeah, maybe in the future there will be karaoke. And I would love to do cooking stuff. I would love to show, because I loved cooking. I'm a big fan of cooking. So I'd love to be able to like show the process of cooking and chat to people. But I kind of need a kitchen where it's just going to be me, or the people around are going to be understanding of me rambling to a camera. But definitely in the future, if I'm still streaming when I have that opportunity, I reckon cooking karaoke could be a thing. Let's have a quick drink, because my mouth is already a bit dry. So we have to have a think of what we want to play on Monday. I think we've run out of things to do on Minecraft for the time being. Kind of exhausted our creativity to a degree. Camera name, speech bubble, graphic raycaster. Stardew sounds cool. Yeah, I haven't played Stardew for ages. I do miss Stardew. And I got the email from the Symphony of Seasons concert that's coming up next year. That they've showed what merch will be available when we go and see the Stardew music played live again. There's some pretty cool looking merch, but it doesn't show the prices. So when we get there to the gig, we can see what they're charging for hoodies and stuff. But it would be nice to get some merch. But it wasn't cheap last time. Like, I only got a program last time because everything was so expensive. Canvas scaler, graphic raycaster, speech bubble script. I don't understand why you got a camera with the speech. I was probably knowing where to point it. Where is the... Need to work out where the code is for what gets written there. So you got that canvas renderer. Hello, this is a test. So is it on the actual character dialogue? There it is. So why would I have dialogue in there? That's where it attaches to that. Yeah, it makes sense. So character dialogue script. Right, let's get the I haven't got Visual Studio open. Let's get this open. And while that's happening, actually, let's get some music playing. No, that's got copyrighted music on that one. Well, most of it's copyrighted, but this one's got a flag for sure. Metal violin. Let's try that. An eerie AI video, of course. Okay, hopefully that should just be in the background now. Make sure your PC can keep up next October 10th. Battlefield 6 is going to be a new co-op game. I'm not sure we have to manage that. I don't know what the limits of my PC actually are. I tried to upgrade the graphics card and I think that's what upset it. But I need to get a new power unit and then I'll try the new graphics card again. It's going to stress mine to full. It's going to be a heavy game. Scripts. Right, still installing updates. Update number 81 of 132. Yeah, I suppose whatever version it's running on there. That's the one I wanted. I think requires at least a Ryzen 7 32 gig of RAM and a 3060, and you always got to be a bit above the rec to have it smooth. Yeah, so the card that my brother was going to lend me, well, he's still technically lending me, is a 3050. Yeah, so my brother's lent me a 3050, but it's my power unit is definitely not coping with it. So once I upgrade my power unit, I can try borrowing his 3050. And I've got some. What have I put in here now? But I've got 32 gig of RAM in here. So I upgraded the RAM to 32 gig now. And yeah, I'll be borrowing my brother's 3050 card once my power unit's been replaced. So it'll be a pretty decent computer. I think I might get PS5 version as well for streaming, so I won't stress PC so I can stream. Good idea. Yeah, just put it all in the console. Console always optimized for device, true. So more relaxed for streams, yeah. Yeah, so I know a lot of streamers, I don't know if they still do it, but I know a lot of streamers have the two PC setup. So a gaming PC just for the gaming, and then a streaming PC just for the streaming, and connect the two. I did consider that at one stage, but that's running two fairly powerful computers. You still need a pretty decent computer to stream, and even better computer for gaming. But this PC is strong enough to do both to a certain degree. I couldn't imagine trying to stream Cyberpunk 2077 at the highest settings. I don't think this will cope. Beta access so good, and check how PC handles it. Ah, that's cool. There you go. Although beta access, the beta might not be optimized anyway. So if it can handle the beta, then you know it's gonna definitely handle the final release. Oh yeah, excuse me. Just to put in perspective, I can play Cyberpunk in max graphics. I'm nervous about Battlefield 6. Yeah, I won't be playing it. It's gotta be very heavy, yeah. Hopefully your PC plays it well though, and you get to enjoy an amazing experience. I'll play anyway, yeah. So you buy it for PS5, then you know it's going to be compatible. As I say, it's a good thing about console releases. As long as it was made for that console and not like ported, then you know it's going to play well. Like playing Doom Eternal on Nintendo Switch. It's not great. You can play it, but the graphics are so dumbed down. I bought it because it was cheap and thought, you know what, it'd be funny if I can play Doom Eternal on a Switch. But it looks like it's an older PC game. Yeah, maybe I should stream Doom Eternal on the Switch, just to see how funny it looks. Because I only really played a little bit of it. Be right back, dog walk, okie dokie, it is that time. Enjoy your walk. So, is there anything I need to do here? So I got rid of that because it's actually that, isn't it? It's a D text, so So it could be that dot text. Let's do that because let's do that anyway, and then we want to dtext dot oh, first visual character maximum. Now we could do it as this way, so enable false. But there's anything else dtext we can do? Render mode. Have a quick look on Unity, see if there's anything else that's better than just enable it. Greetings, greetings dealer, how's it going? It's good to see you. It's been a little while. Sorry, no Mankini, sorry. Yeah, I was saying to saying a little earlier, like if there's nobody else in the house, I would happily do a cooking karaoke stream. Not sure about the mankini, but I'll certainly wear an apron and not much else if that comes to it. That's about as the rest of where the line is drawn. But yeah, I can do kitchen karaoke wearing an apron. Hell yeah. But yeah, unfortunately I share the house, so if I'm if the other occupants of the house at some point are okay with me doing such a thing, then I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed. But it would have to be for a good occasion, maybe like a charity money raiser or some sort of special sort of milestone in my streaming or personal kind of thing. So I'm not going to be just doing that for any reason. Not for a random Friday. But, as I say, I'm not opposed. It will happen. It'll happen someday. I wonder if it could be better to drop in the canvas object and get the speech bubble from the canvas object. So, what's this game about? So, this is still Revolt Overthrow. So, still throwing rocks at buildings. But I'm trying to make it look sort of nicer. So this is going to be just this little guy or somebody of a similar sort. Just doing a little bit of exposition. Talking about why we're here and what's the game going to be about. And then we'll go into the gameplay. But I'm at the point of just wanting to write the mechanic that allows me to have speech bubbles, because once I've done this mechanic I can use it elsewhere. Law! Yeah, law indeed. We're writing law for a small catapult game with trebuchets. Because you always need a little bit of law, don't you? I'm thinking I want to kind of drop this whole thing so I can what I want to do basically is just hide the speech bubble. What can I do? Well, I can probably do canvas. Deactivate and activate the canvas. Yeah, so I want to be able to like turn it off, turn it on, have a bit of text. I mean, that's how Scott Cawthon started like one of the most influential series in gaming. Yeah, you got to have a little bit of law, not raw, law. So I think I need to have that as a control, not just the text itself. But I think the speech bubble script needs to have the text in it. So we've got speech bubble script here. FNAF was one. Hail Mary, because his playtester said the characters were too scary. Okay. And I suppose it just grew from there. I saw the I've not seen the first movie, but I saw the trailer for the second movie. Apparently that's coming out at some point in the future. The fact is, you got a game series and 2 movies from just one scary game. I like how simple the mechanics are in FNAF as well. I've not played it, but I've seen it played. Book series? I didn't know there's a book series. Wow. Like all that lore out of just scary, haunted animatronics. But that is pretty cool though. Like you write something that people really sort of grip onto and go, well, this is interesting. We want to know why there's animatronics. Like you could easily just go, well, it's not that deep. They're possessed. You're security guards. That's it. That's your lore. But then I suppose fans start writing their own lore, and that gets kind of put into sort of canon and stuff. And yeah, well, we want to know more. So yeah, you end up writing something. So yeah, that's why I wanted to put a little bit of lore into mine. Because well, all games need a little bit of lore. Like I know there's like puzzle games and like, oh no, there's somebody's in trouble. Help them. You need to do this. Now on to the next one. Like Mario, original Super Mario didn't really have much lore to it. It's just get from start of the level to the end of the level. But these days you kind of need some lore. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to put it in here. I might regret doing this. We'll see how it works out. We'll make it a hierarchy and we'll just link the objects back through. Now we need to write a couple of functions that hide and show the text. Make the ending be the guy with the trebuchet again skimmed off the pavement so the MC becomes the necromancer to bring people back. In the sequel, yeah. I have decided my big project I'm working on, I would like to make a reference to this at the very least. Very similar kind of like world themes in some ways, so certainly could join them together, like at least in the same universe, if not Yeah, both games are going to be in the same universe, but they're not going to be direct sequel. But I could make a direct sequel. If people love this game so much, I don't mind writing a sequel. But I do like the idea of necromancers. Explore the ruins from the first game, yeah. Yeah, just kind of walking along and go, oh, if you played this game, you'll recognise this. I love when games do that. They kind of do nods to their previous works. So that fans of their work in general can recognise it. Yeah, let's just copy this bit for now. Put this in here. So display text. We'll drop it into here. We'll do that. So it's not going to like it. We'll do that. And we'll remove this instead. Yeah, I'd like to have like maybe this village or something of similar sort. And then yeah, the ruins of the castles you attack. And maybe even the trebuchet. Hang on a minute. Game object, text display, character dialogue. Hey, thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. Board Programmer, that's a cool name, I like it. Welcome in. Those messages that pop up to keep the bots away, we get a lot of people trying to sell stuff. So welcome in, hope you're having a good Friday. We're learning as we go here. So I do apologise if I do frustrate you. So what kind of programming do you do with your board programmer? Necromancer uses trebuchet as a horse carriage, the skeletons pushing it instead. Sounds cool. I may have to employ that idea. Yeah, I would like to put at least a necromancer in my next game. I don't want to make it a mechanic, but at least have a necromancer. Because it'd be cool to like fight off a necromancer that keeps raising skeletons and sending them after you. Speech bubble. No, he's actually working on some C#. Ooh, nice. SQLite, awesome. XAML and SQL Server currently working on my project. Lacking focus, so I came over here to see what I can do to get some inspiration. Oh, hopefully you can get some inspiration for me. Like my day job is actually C# SQL Server. I've just started looking into XAML. Like I've only just come across it, so. I didn't even know what it was a couple of weeks ago. I'm a little bit behind. Never used SQLite. But I've used, I'm quite proficient in SQL Server. Dangerously so, I suppose. What's your project? What's the goal of your project, if you don't mind me asking? What's this going to achieve? So my current project we're desperately trying to sign off at work is a time and attendance system. So I've been using C#, SQL, Python, and sort of just a few different technologies, just trying to bring it together and actually have a coherent external machine SQL database and application linking. Trying to make my life easier at work. Nice, I like it. Making a tool that allow me to program faster to a set of templates. Nice. So that's the cool thing about being a programmer, is you can make your own tools. So it's like working in a workshop making things, but then you make things to help you make more things. So I suppose your set of templates would be scenarios, like different pages or different screens, and you kind of have a, right, this is, I'm always going to make a screen like this, I'm always going to make a screen like that, I'm always going to use this particular functionalities. So you kind of build up your toolbox and you just go grab, throw them in there, and you've already got the pieces ready for you. So yeah, if you can achieve that, then yeah, your life will be so much easier, as long as you don't get too many curveballs. I would like to have my own toolbox of programming stuff, and to a certain extent I do, but we have so many ad hoc kind of requests as to what the company actually wants that I'm constantly reinventing stuff anyway. Not you, the mankini as well. I don't even own a mankini. I own an apron. I was saying to dealer, I can wear just an apron, just like a chef's apron and nothing else. That's about as much as you're going to get. Setting up a screen that just allows me to connect to the SQL server table, pick some options, click a button. Nice. Yeah, we've got we have a class that we reuse. We have an SQL class, like a data SQL connection class that we just basically reuse in many projects, and it has all the functions there to pass information back and forth, and we just pass in the server and the database we want to connect to, and then the name of the stored procedure that we want to run along with the parameters. So yeah, we basically made our own class which we borrowed from somewhere. So that's been quite useful, having an SQL class pre-written for us that we just kind of call bits from. Yes, do that. By the way, you may know this, but I'm not the biggest fan of conures. No, not. What about a maid outfit with arm warmers? I don't have one. I don't know anyone who have an outfit that's large enough for me. Attachable cat ear. I'm not going full gamer girl uru kind of stuff. If you want a full kind of anime gamer girl streamer, then Cold Hikikomori is probably more suitable. Yeah, I did have some panda ears that I was borrowing off my partner Nick's, but they've had the panda ears back, so I did have a little big fluffy ears. Weirdly, almost ashamed to say it, love the graphic design of the 50-60 Soviet and People's Republic of China used in propaganda posts. I suppose that's the thing about propaganda is that it is attractive visually. Like even like any wartime propaganda is very kind of iconic. Even if you agree with what the propaganda was or not, the whole point is it grabs you. I decided to make one with a figure I do like. So no Mao or Stalin. Oh, I see you've sent a DM there. Ah, now that is pretty cool. I like that. So rather than Mao, it's Mao or Meow. Do you think Aussie, you think he could start his own kind of communist movement if given the opportunity? You certainly have a lot of people working for him, wouldn't he? Well, he was very communist with our food when he was alive. Yeah. This is our food. This is not your food, it belongs to the people. Yeah, it seems to be a cat's kind of a cat's approach to things that you don't own anything. He ate sauerkraut if not given. Oh, I can't imagine a cat actually going for sauerkraut, but yes, it sounds plausible. Like anything meat-based, you don't understand the cat will go for. But I know cats will go for vegetables. You know, why, you silly thing? But yeah, I've got a few kind of template stuff set up at work for programming. So I've not necessarily got a toolbox, but if I think about it, I make templates out of previous works. So it's good to have a lot of stuff you can go back to. I've already made something like this. Let me copy and strip back a little bit. Ideally, I would keep a stripped back copy. But as I say, things change so often and different ideas. You go, well, this is completely different from anything we made before. You go, okay. But I'm effectively the lead dev at work. So most of the stuff we use is my previous work anyway. My CPU is actively trying to set itself on fire via Java binaries. Oh dear. What's the Java doing? You running Minecraft? We've got some other Java running in the background. Unfortunately, there's one or two things at work that still use Java. It's mainly old printer configurations. We have some specialist printers that have Java applications. But fortunately, they just run. Like, if you don't touch them, don't change anything, they're happy. But you do have to keep Java active on that server that is connected to. Is that rather not? Well, there you go. Can't help it. Business is running old stuff. Right, speech babbles. Babbles. Speech bubbles. So I need to grab. Oh, that's what I do. So game object text display. Let's change that to what it really is. So it's speech babble. And find that on the inspector. Now I did want to try and get SQL Server connected to Unity and see if I can make a UI that connects into an SQL server, but with like a 3D engine. And I realised .NET and Unity don't share the same kind of libraries, despite both using C#. So my code unfortunately didn't translate over. But it'd be cool if I can represent SQL data visually in a 3D engine. Hey Carl, how's it going? Glad that you got the World Space UI working. Yeah. It took a little bit tweaking, but we got there. So when he walks along, this kind of follows him. I'll show you what I've got actually. As long as it doesn't break. Just want to make sure. What am I missing? Character dialogue. Script. Character dialogue. Character dialogue. Character dialogue. Why is that not showing? Oh, because I've... Idiot. I commented out the serialized field. Right. Just want to drag that into there, and I can show everyone what it's looking like. But I'm just writing the mechanic now that allows me to update what is on that text there. So I just need to write the code that will grab the object, write to it, and then hide it when there's no text to actually display. But we'll save that. Let's give it a run, see if anything breaks. But at the moment I've got the canvas to face the active camera. So when the camera switches, it reorientates the speech bubble to face the camera at all times. So you can see it switches camera, speech bubble now faces this camera, and then it will switch back to the other camera and it will face this camera now. Ignore the two people sliding along, I've not animated those two. Now I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in this scene where the camera's further away. Whether the speech bubble needs to be bigger so you can read it better. I'm on Bandcamp a lot, by the way. The algorithm pushed something to me just released today that I loved. Hi, sell emotes. Hey Lisa, how's it going? There's those awesome emotes. Probably pushed it to me directly since I'm the only one that buys dancehall records and black metal records. Where's the karaoke cooking? One day Lisa. And I promise I'll wear nearly nothing but an apron. Just I can't do that in a kitchen where there are other people around. But if I have an empty house, or a house full of people that are okay with me walking around half naked singing to karaoke while I'm cooking. Satanic dancehall, that's quite a combination of genres. I'm trying to imagine how that sounds. But it's not two genres I would expect to be a thing. But yeah, it's a very niche kind of thing. That the Venn diagram of people who listen to dancehall and black metal is surely just two separate circles that are barely touching. Like, there's bound to be something. There's obviously somebody who's decided to make satanic dancehall, but yeah, that's where we are with this. So I'm just writing the mechanic that will, the functionality that me to grab this object and write to it. So Canvas has the text object in, well, Canvas speech bubble has a text object in it. So I need to grab that, which is actually in here. So I can now grab it and then grab the speech bubble script and then write to it that way. There is no black metal sound in there, just dancehall sound, just about devil. It's 10 dudes from Suriname that decided, like, all them Rastafari speak about Jesus, but there is the religion of the oppressor. There's the religion of the oppressor, so they don't get how it mixes with black religions like Rasta. Okay. So they picked the opposites to rebel against Christian governments of the Caribbean. Nice, I like it. Looks great, man. Thank you, Carl. So I worked out most of this off stream, as I said I would. It's usually when I'm just sat here going, I don't understand what's going on. I'll take a break and think about it, and usually that does work. Oh, nice. Blood. Blood Clat. I like it. Sent you. Thank you. I shall give that a listen to after the stream. Speech bubble. Speech bubble. Speech bubble. So we need to grab the speech bubble. We've got a speech bubble there. So we need to... private speech bubble speech. Let's do that. And then speech. These tools get component speech bubble. But it's going to be speech bubble dot get component speech bubble because it's actually on the speech bubble. I've been away a lot recently for work, so I haven't been here for the progress. Glad you figured it out. Well, thank you. I hope your work trips have been okay. I know you mentioned that you had a long trip out. Sometimes work trips for me actually quite nice. There's a little bit break from usual things, and other times it's like, I'm glad I'm back. It wasn't a work trip, but it was a trip because of work. It's one of those weird things. It was a work gathering, so you're still technically at work, but you can relax because you're not being paid. But the company, all the managers are there, so you can never be truly kind of off the clock. But I had to do that on Friday just gone, and that's why I've not really had the energy for the past few days, because I had to drive to head office, kind of be friendly to all the members of staff, drive home, and then I've just been tired for the past week. I found a lot of artists in all genres, kinds of genres on Bandcamp through that, but now I think of it, never hip hop. Maybe those just more active on SoundCloud compared to Bandcamp. Yeah, I suppose SoundCloud is more of a hip-hop artist space. It was a work trip doing 15 hours a day in the US. Wow. 15 hours a day. That's got to be hard, Carl. How was the US? Was it... I can't even think about how travelling to the US would be at the moment. This sounds like a nightmare. I did find dubstep and hardcore Bandcamp. A lot of metal, definitely reggae and dancehall. Yeah, a lot of my like indie metal bands, independent metal bands and artists are on Bandcamp. I tend to like find, and I found like drum and bass, dubstep, and like dancey stuff on there. But yeah, there's not really much hip hop. US was incredible, pretty easy to get into the country. I was in Baltimore, Washington. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've heard horror stories of it just being such a nightmare for people. I discovered the whole existence of Dungeon Sim from Bandcamp. Nice. Yeah, to be honest, I don't look at like discovery queues on Bandcamp. I go on there because somebody's linked me like an artist or an album, and I go on there, I buy it, listen to it, buy it, and then maybe look at the rest of the stuff that artist has done, but I don't look at other things. I probably should, to be honest. Okay, so we grab speech from speech bubble. So that grabs that. So I did start doing something with conversations, character dialogue. So the character dialogue needs a dialogue sequence provided, I suppose. Unless I put the dialogue onto the waypoint, so I'll have dialogue sections. Actually, I could have dialogue points that the player passes through. So when they get to this point, they say this thing. That might work. So you have like sound triggers. It could be like a dialogue trigger. So we need to have a function that will do all this kind of stuff. So because we want to turn the speech bubble on and off, we don't really want to hide this. D-text. Oh, I'm missing the other bracket there. Something got lost along the way there. That inside the brackets. So if it's null or zero length string, set it to a zero length string. Otherwise, we want to set it to whatever text is. So that is just literally displaying the text. So it doesn't do anything to do with visibility. That's just the text handling. Now, in this bit, we want to be able to show or hide the text. So I suppose we can probably copy this function back into here. And then we're going to pass in speech dot display text regardless of whatever it is. Just pass that. But then if it is null or blank, we will then want to hide enabled is false, and then enabled is true. Not transform, true. So this function here will be given a text field, whether it be null, zero length string, or an actual bit of text. It'll pass that through to the speech bubble, regardless of what it is. And then, depending whether it has value or no value, it will set it to enable as false and hide it. If it has a value, it will enable it. So, just really need something that passes in a well, this looks for a dialogue, I suppose. So I suppose I can have a collision trigger. Now, if it collides with a dialogue trigger, it will pull the text out of the dialogue trigger, run display text, and then once it exits the dialogue trigger, then sends a blank to the speech bubble and turns it off. which would mean if they're walking, the dialogue trigger would have to be the length of their walking. So they're walking for so many steps with the dialogue. It needs to be the length of their walking. That could work. So effectively it'd be like a dialogue zone. Like while they're in that zone, the dialogue is on the screen. We could try that. So it means I have to put like a little zone here for one bit of dialogue, and then so that means I can physically determine where certain things are said. So I can say, well, this zone here is saying this, then this zone here is saying something, and then the zone just in front of the market stall is saying something else. But if you want him to say multiple things while in a small zone, how do I do that? There's got to be a sequence of dialogue within that zone, and it's got to have timings, so it runs through the dialogue while in the zone, but then you have to make sure it doesn't leave the zone before the dialogue is complete, otherwise you never see the end of the conversation. Or you just have a sequence of dialogue which is triggered, and it'll just run through the dialogue, and then when it ends, it ends. So you just have to get the timings of the dialogue correct, that it says the right thing at the right point. Or I suppose that you have to start a new dialogue when you get to the market stall, and you want to have a dialogue here and then a dialogue after the market stall. So it just has like, here's a dialogue triggered off, and it should finish before it gets here. Start a new dialogue, finish before he leaves, then start a new dialogue. Yeah, we could work it that way. So we need a dialogue sequence which we can trigger by a trigger point. Do you like dancehall? I think so, because it's related to Raga. I tend to like most Raga related genres. Like, I've listened to dancehall, I can't remember what it sounds like. Now, I can probably put some generic dancehall on and see if I kind of recognise the sound. Hopefully I don't get copyright strikes or anything. Dancehall mix. New dancehall mix 2025. Burrow Baton is my favourite artist. Ah. In the genre. Cool. Dancehall is a little bit slower, I think, if it's based on this. I suppose if it was in background, I wouldn't listen to it. Yeah, it's not a lot of low end. Like, I tend to like genres with like a low end to it. So that's probably why I've not really looked into dancehall too much. I don't recognise this or what I like. It's a very low end genre in vocals. Try Burrito Baton Bazadan Dem. That's what I call dancehall. Cool, okay. Let's look that up. Ah, I seem to have already downloaded this one by the looks of it, because it's got me, it tells me I've already listened to it. It might have been because you've linked it. It might be modern dancehall I'm not keen on then. Yeah, so I definitely would like this kind of dancehall. But then it's the same with hip hop. Like I like 90s hip hop. I don't really go in for anything current. When I send you on Bandcamp, it's more like the old style awesome. So I can hear, even though it's the volume's low, I can hear the low end quite happily. Like it's too many modern interpretations of genres seem to have just washed out the low end for some reason, which is weird. Because there's either genres which have got loads of bass added to it, and then genres that have taken all the bass out. Because to me, I need the low end to kind of feel the music and kind of like move with it. I've never listened to modern dancehall or 90s. Cool. I might look up some like 90s dancehall mixes. Because dancehall, like older dancehall, translates into dubstep and breakbeat kind of genres and drum and bass. So all like the heavy drum dance genres can borrow from older dancehall and then they kind of mix the two together, and it works quite well. Yeah, because I think pretty much this better than them was taken by Chase and Status and turned into like a more up-to-date drum and bass kind of track. One Bandcamp is from this year, but not new style. Yeah. Old dancehall is basically DJs mixing old dub plates with reggae instruments. MCs doing those low vocals. Yeah, I like that combination. Like reggae, I like reggae. And if old dancehall was basically reggae with MCing, then that explains it. Same. I can listen to reggae all day. Cool. Yeah, I've already. YouTube tells me I've already listened to that, and I recognise it. Right, we're going to make some dialogue triggers then. Let's make a dialogue trigger object. We can probably borrow the prefab for a waypoint. Spherical either waypoint script. So rather than the waypoint script on it, there's going to have to be a different colour really, otherwise I'm going to get confused. Or should I just make something new? I'll make a new object. Make a new object. So we'll make the triggers first. Then I need to make a, if I haven't already, I need to make a dialogue sequence. I'm pretty sure I've already made a dialogue sequence. Conversation. Oh, there we go. Conversation script. Dialogue. There we go, yeah. So we've already made a dialogue here. We just add multiple bits of text, multiple audio files. So I suppose if we attached... Because what is it? That is just an empty, isn't it? It's just an audio thing. Yeah, so we can load that with a conversation. Now whether we add this as an object into the trigger, and the trigger then loads this, probably do that so we keep them separate. I got some underground reggae I can send you if you like. Do you know Albert Rossi? Rosie is not very underground, just whenever you know him. Doesn't ring a bell, not too familiar with him. But I'm certainly happy for you to send me any reggae. Very happy for reggae. Like, if I get hold of enough reggae, I might even do like a reggae DJ set at some point. Did a Metallica cover, it works nice. I have some reggae on my laptop. But if I get at least an hour's worth of reggae, I might try and mix it at some point. I want to try and mix different genres, like bass heavy genres, or bass heavy genres or drum heavy genres. But anything that is beat matchable. Like, you take something like really old, like early 90s, late 80s hardcore, then that was never made to be mixed as such. I know what DJs used to do is just kind of do chop mixing, where they'd kind of line them up and then chop between them because they didn't really have the speed, the pitch fader. They didn't even have the crossfader for a while. So they just basically had to try and chop two records together. So there wasn't really much mixing back then. But yeah, as hardcore went on to like into the mid-90s, it got a bit easier to try and mix it. First listen to Black Fire Covenant on a cinch today. Cool, I will do. I'm very interested to hear how that sounds. It's called a Metallica cover. Right, so we've already got the conversation object. So let's make a conversation trigger. So let's go create empty. No, actually, let's not create an empty. Let's create a tangible object so we can see it. I'll send you some stuff, but first listen to Satanic Dance Hall. Yes, definitely. Let's create a 3D object. What should it be? Should it be a sphere? Cylinder? Let's make it a cylinder. We should call this a conversation trigger. Conversation trigger. That's that is obviously way too tall. We want it to be fairly flat, and the player can kind of walk into it. Awesome, I see all those being linked there, thank you very much. First check out Blackfire Convertible House. I love that emote. It's angry Lisa face. It doesn't need to be too big, it just needs to be big enough that we can guarantee the player walks through it, or in this case the NPC walks through it. And we could do with a new material for it. Well, we could actually just put that on there. Semi-transparent, you can kind of see it, doesn't obscure too much. Let's put it a little bit away so we can see him walk into it. We need to give it a tag. Add another tag. Conversation trigger. Didn't have it. I didn't hit save, that's why. Conversation trigger. Save. There we go. Go back to that and tag it as a conversation trigger. I need a bit of code in there. That will hold the conversation, and then when the player walks into it, or the NPC in this case walks into it, but then if I'm going to use this more universally, I don't want all NPCs walking into it having exactly the same conversation. So it kind of needs to, conversation needs to have an NPC's reference to it. So it needs to know that the right person's walked into it, and then the right person starts talking. So how do we do that? So I suppose the trigger is going to be passive. All the trigger will do is have the conversation. What the character, when it moves into the trigger, the script will be detecting that it's hit a trigger, and then you'll be looking up the conversation, if the conversation holds that particular character as one of the participants. So it needs to have participants in the conversation. If the particular character that triggers it is a participant, it then starts the conversation. That sounds like it should work. So the conversation itself needs to have a participant to know know who's in the conversation. So this conversation object here so we've got the text dialogue character. Oh yeah, so the dialogue is dialogues. So dialogue is a separate thing. So we've got characters. The dialogue count, character count, conversation count. Should have left myself some notes because I've done some of the work already. I just need to work out what I've already done. Let's have a quick look at the scripts here. Is it a scriptable object? Dialogue. So that holds a piece of text and an audio. So that is a single bit of dialogue. And a conversation has many dialogues. So that works okay. But maybe the dialogue needs to have a character as part of the dialogue. So it loads the text, the audio, and then knows who is saying it. Or do we make it so any dialogue can be given to any character? But then how do you know which character should be saying it? I have a Burrow Banton shirt, by the way. It showed it in your server when I wore it. Pretty sure. Don't know when. Definitely at some point. Yeah, I might have to do like a collation of shirt of the days. I'm just kind of have like a little library. I still need to kind of go through all my shirts. I tend to wear the same shirts repeatedly, so it's like, do I really want to take a photo of this one again? Like this shirt I've worn many times when I'm streaming. But I have so many shirts that haven't even been worn for so long. So I should really go through them and start wearing them. But make it like a thing where I don't wear the same shirt within so many weeks. I'll guarantee it then. I was like, this shirt I wore a couple of weeks ago. I like it, I'll put it back on again. Now, I'm torn here. Like, part of me thinks the dialogue should be just separate. Like, it should not be attached to a particular character. It's just dialogue. But then if it's audio and that audio is written and recorded for a particular character, it's not going to work just being given to anyone, in which case you would change the character if you decide to give it to somebody else. Now, how do we define a character? Like, so you have to do it by character name and say, okay, this is John Smith, and John Smith has this dialogue. So this object will say, well, who is the character? Character name John Smith. What is the text he says? What is the audio of him saying it? And then if John Smith is, as a participant, enters a trigger, it goes, well, John Smith is a participant of this conversation. Load in John Smith's dialogue in time. And the dialogue list would be John Smith, and then Jane Doe, then John Smith, then Jane Doe, and talking back and forth. But then the conversation will have to, so you have two characters and they'll have to be loaded. The conversation will have to load between them. So something would have to run the conversation. So now, how do we decide what's running the conversation? If it's multiple participants, as you can probably tell by now, I've not actually planned any of this. I'm kind of very much writing this game ad hoc, just kind of getting an idea, writing it. Like for my next project, my actual first proper planned project, I'm going to be planning all this out before I write it. But this is very much a tester project. This is me going, oh, what cool things could I do in a game, and just making it. A lot of the things I'm thinking I'm going to want to do in my next actual serious project, and just trying it here. So a lot of the features I'm writing here go, well, that seems a bit overkill for what this game is, but I will have it ready for me to borrow and use in the next project. So I was talking earlier about the tools and stuff. I'm effectively writing myself a set of tools or features and mechanics that I want to use later in other projects. But using this project as kind of the testing ground to go, what is the better way? And I can look back at it and go, actually, that wasn't the best way, I can do it better. Or you go, well, that was pretty good, I'll use it as it is. So what we worked out so far was you have a trigger object. This will set off the motion of the conversation. We have a conversation which will hold many bits of dialogue. I did make it so we have characters. So I don't know how the characters are going to interact because I didn't leave myself any notes. I don't know why we got conversation count going on there as well. Conversation script. Let's have a look at conversation script. So what was I doing here? So we've got counters here. So to play the conversation, so it gets the count, so it goes how long is the dialogue length, how long is the character length. Okay, so conversation count is not, it should really be, yeah, the name is not intuitive, but it is the minimum amount of objects that it needs to cycle through. Like if I have more text than audio or more audio than text, it's only going to play the minimum because something's gone out of sync at that point. Then to play the conversation, it's just going to go through the dialogue, playing it. So that's playing the audio. But the problem with this is it just going to be, there's no delay here, there's no, has it finished playing it before it moves on to the next one. So this needs work. So I need to put something in here. Check no other dialogue audio is playing before moving on. So it's great it's looping, but maybe it shouldn't really be a for loop. As much of it is just kind of moving on once the audio is finished. Is there anything in src dot what's in the context menu? Is the clip playing right now? Oh, okay. So if it is not playing, load the clip. So I might still take out the for loop. Rather than being a for loop, maybe I put it into the update function. So for every frame it checks, am I playing audio? If I'm not, load the next bit of audio. Now ideally you want the text to sync with the audio. So when it loads that dialogue, it also needs to load the text. So nothing's actually running that. So I think there needs to be a rather than a for loop, it just needs to see what number of the dialogue it's currently on. Then if there's a dialogue line after the current one, +1 the number, then load that dialogue. If there isn't, just end the conversation. So this for loop, the for loop's not going to be the best idea, but the conversation count would definitely stop me from trying to load dialogue that doesn't exist. Now, I probably should really have a function, I suppose, that I pass in a number. So let's go public void play next dialogue. Play next dialogue. So that then need to hold a number where it is. So you need another. I'm going to serialize it so I can see it in the inspector, but I don't really need to see it. Serialized private int. We're going to call it conversation count. Let's call it dialogue number. Let's do that. So if it's playing, it's not playing dialogue number. Now, what we also want to check is see if it's not dialogue count, it's conversation count, isn't it? So if conversation count if dialogue number is less than conversation count, then dialogue number plus plus, and play the next dialogue. But if dialogue number is the same, needs to be same or equal to, isn't it? But even if it's equal to, you just want to play it. Or do we plus plus? No, because we want a plus plus. So if it's less than, we want a plus plus. Yeah, so if that's 10 dots of dialogue, and we were previously on number 9, we'll make it 10 play. Yeah, so that works, yes. So if that's 9, that's 10, we plus plus, makes it 10, plays the dialogue, we've played the last one of the conversation. They'll go around again, 10 is not less than 10, therefore it won't play any more dialogue and it won't crash, saying there's no more dialogue. So that works, in theory. And it won't play the next one if it's already playing something. So you can keep calling play next dialogue until the current one's finished playing, and then it will play the next dialogue, increment the number, and then carry on. And the question is, where do I call this? So we don't actually need play conversation. We'll comment that out in case I need it, any reference to it, but I don't think it will. But yeah, where do we call this now? Because that's in conversation, and conversation is in the conversation script. So something needs to grab this and then start playing, but at the same time I need to be able to load the text from the conversation. So maybe this needs to pass back the text. So rather than a void, I have to have this as a string and send back the string of text from the next dialogue. But then this is what if it's the player. It can't be the player that calls this. It can't be the character, sorry. It can't be the character that calls this function. The character has to be passive in this point. Something needs to run. So maybe it's the trigger then. Maybe the trigger has to be active. So once the trigger has been triggered by the character, it goes, this character is the one in the conversation. It then starts playing the conversation and passing the text to the relevant characters. If it's not this particular, unless there's a make a conversation controller, that loads the conversation into it, and then loads the characters into it. But I suppose the conversation needs to know which characters it's attached to. I need to think on that. So definitely want to load the conversation object into the conversation trigger. So so it knows what it's doing. When this is activated, it runs that particular conversation. So it makes sense if I write script into the trigger, which will then run that upon the character entering it. Okay, let's write the script for it. Let's start writing the script for it. Scripts. Let's go new, create a C# script and call this conversation trigger. Wait for it to do its thing. And drag that into there. So we've got conversation trigger script. And this needs to take a conversation object, which will have this following code. And then because it has that object, it can just keep playing next. But the trigger will also need to have the characters available to it, and when one of those characters sets off the trigger that it's waiting for, then it can then handle it. Yes. Okay, so so because I actually did have the characters need to go into here. So I already put the characters into here. Yeah, because I think what I did do is having the dialogue. Yeah, so it wasn't the text and the audio, it was the dialogue and the characters. So I'll link the characters in here. Okay, so yeah, I don't need to link them into the trigger. The trigger just runs through it. So this conversation object is passive. The trigger runs through it, doing its thing. Okay. Right, so let's make a serialized field, private conversation. So it has a conversation in it, so we can save that. So once it has, the trigger goes off, so it's gonna have to keep, it's gonna have to load the characters. Yeah, so we've got the character there. So you're gonna have to pull the characters from this object. It's gonna have to make a definitive list of the characters. So if it's Jane Doe and John Smith, one after the other, in this dialogue conversation, the trigger only needs to hold Jane Doe and John Smith once. But the conversation needs to know at which order Jane Doe and John Smith are talking to each other. But the trigger only needs to know who the characters are. So I need to pull character listing. So we need to have a serialized field, private game object characters. So if that's how you spell it, let's double check. Oh yeah, just we'll copy that there. So it's going to be a list of characters. A list of character. So on start, it needs to know, needs to look through the list of characters and only pick out unique characters. And there is I'm pretty sure there's a function in C# that can just pull out unique. So let's write a function down here. Private void. So we want, what we're doing, we are getting characters, I suppose. Get unique characters. Get unique characters. Get unique characters. There's going to be conversation character. I suppose because it's public. I probably should still write a get though. Let's write a get function down here. Public game object get characters. Return character. So we can go here and go character equals conversation dot get characters. So that'll pull the just copy it straight over, which we don't want it to do, but I'm pretty sure there's something we can do here function wise. Dot This is a function we need to pass it into. Lower bound, up or down, get value, get type. Might have to Google this one. So have a quick check. I'm pretty sure there's something that will just pull through. Because I could write something, but I know there's likely something that already does it. It's 11 o'clock. Right, let's do a quick googly. C#. Get unique values from array. Awesome. How does it get distinct values from an array in C#? Distinct. So it's that dot distinct. Distinct. To array. Okay, that seemed easy enough. So that should get me the unique characters. So I'd only, if I've got two characters on the conversation, it'll just bring those two characters in. Now I do need an on collision. That on the collision it needs to check if it's one of the characters in this listing then. So we say that, go back to here, we make this a collidable object. So we've got capsule collider. Is it going to be a better collider? Because I suppose capsule collider is good enough. Make it a trigger because we don't want it to actually bump into it. And then do an on collision. On collision enter. If collision is not equal to null, it's a good suggestion. If it's not null, we're gonna need to get the collision dot game object. Could probably do with storing that and then passing it out. Now the only thing is, if we have the two people talking collide with this object one after the other, we don't want to trigger this twice. So conversation needs to have a has been triggered value. Serialized field, private boolean, triggered equals false. And then we'll get a get down here, public boolean get trigger status, return triggered, and do a public void set trigger, go triggered is true. So when it starts the conversation, you set as triggered, but then also needs to check if triggered is false, start the conversation, set as triggered. If it's true, don't do anything. But first we need to determine the game object. So we probably do with another function. Private void is character in convo. I suppose we could make this a boolean and then have a game object. Probably want name. Yeah, how is this string? Character name. Boolean convo equals false. Return convo. Name. If not character dot contains. Well, that's a far better way of doing it. Thank you, Visual Studio. I didn't expect it to fully write me the function. Okay, we'll forget that because it's already written it for us. So if, not a not, but if character dot contains collision dot game object, because it is a game object, yeah, then start conversation. So we need to go conversation dot set trigger. So okay, we're starting a conversation first of all. Actually, no, we do need to check. Need yet another if. It is not quite that, thank you. Got it right the first time, but not this time. So, if conversation dot triggered, your trigger status. So if not conversation trigger status, then set trigger. Do you know David Rodigan? Don't think so, no. Don't think I do. Not by name, anyway. So that's false, set it to true. British radio DJ really likes reggae, he's on BBC. Oh, right. No, I've probably not paid attention to him. What's we doing for time? Well, I just want to finish writing this, and then I'll have to sign off, because it's getting quite late. Save there. So triggers are set off. Characters there. Probably play next dialogue. He played his old Burrow Bantam record in a reel on Insta once. It's basically unfindable online. I just DM'd him if he could find me a rip. My only chance. Well, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. He has 200,000 followers, so fat chance. But yeah, you don't know if he does, you try. Right, I'm going to leave that there because it's going to take some more thinking and I'm starting to hurt and I need to get some rest. Thank you all for joining us today. We've made some kind of progress, doesn't look like we have, and it feels frustrating that all I've done is kind of talk out loud of what I think I need to do and then do a little bit of doing. But we made this. We've connected a few things. We worked out what we need to do. Well, I can carry on next time. Switch over to the main camera. Let's save Unity as well. Cool. Well, thank you all for being here. I would like to do longer streams, but my back can't take sitting down for too long. Thank you for streaming, it was epic. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa, for being here. Thank you, Carl, for dropping in. Dealer as well, you're awesome. I understand, yeah. Like, there's nothing here. There's literally nothing behind me. I'm sat cross-legged. If I had like a really nice, comfortable gaming chair that I could put here. I do have a nice, comfortable gaming chair, but it's like in the other room. And that room's shared. So not a very good option, unfortunately. See you next time. Listen to all the reggae dancehall essentially. We'll do, and we'll play Stardew Valley on Monday if everyone's up for that. So yeah, do more Unity next Friday. I'll carry on with this project and then try and do some Blender on Wednesday and Stardew on Monday. I hope you have a good night. Enjoy your weekend, and I shall see you on the other side. Hope you all have a good night. Good night.